Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monday's Market Outlook, I guess let's call it. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend, as good as you can be, getting out, being active as long as you can, doing the social distancing thing. Didn't think I'd get the response that I did to talking about meditation, talking about the various books I've read, so that's pretty cool. A lot of people coming out of the woodwork to either say thanks or that they've been doing this for years, and glad other folks are getting into it. Another book I'd like to add, I know a lot of you are reading The Power of Now. I actually started rereading that the other day. Do me a favor, the first chapter, bear with me, or bear with him. It's a little, if you read that and you kind of pause and go, what? That was me. Power through that part of it and get to the rest of it. Trust me, man. As I joke, old me, looking at me, I wouldn't even recognize old me looking at new me, and I'm not kidding when I say that. So power through that first chapter in The Power of Now, and it'll boom. It's a magical moment. One of the books I read before The Power of Now is this one, Why Buddhism Is True. Now, I'm no Richard Gere, walking on the rice paper type of guy, but this was awesome. Why Buddhism Is True. I'm a recovering Irish Catholic. I believe in God, but here we go. Let me jump on my magic carpet. We're all God, man, at the end of the day. When you boil it down, when you read this type of book, when you read The Power of Now, it's life changing. Right? Very, very dark days in my past. It's another reason why we started Top Gun Fighter Foundation, man. Don't want to help, want to pay it forward, man. Like we talk about at Top Gun Options, we talk about putting the ladder down. Whenever you made it to a higher rank in the military or got to go to fighter weapons school or do cool shit, you put the ladder down to help your bros out and your sisters out. And that's what I'm trying to do. So try that one, Why Buddhism Is True. This is another book where I just, there's highlighted sections. I had to read a couple chapters like 20 times, and then bang, I'm like, I've reached, nirvana. I wish. I'm joking, but definitely books that have changed my life. And if I can help you out, man, put the ladder down and help somebody else out. Really interesting yesterday, on my personal Facebook page, I've seen people with Trump derangement syndrome, and then now I see people with inverted Trump derangement syndrome, where the president can absolutely do no wrong, and if you criticize him, here comes the inverted Trump derangement syndrome crowd. I couldn't stand liberals and Democrats who couldn't say one word about Obama, and if you said anything about it, you were a racist, human, awful, right? I'm starting to feel that way about absolute blind Trump supporters. I can't stand you. I absolutely can't stand you. Period. These polar opposites are what is wrong with this country. Get back in the middle, folks. The fact that the dude, as they're putting bodies in New York City in refrigerated tractor trailers because the morgues are full, tweeting about how his ratings have been higher than The Bachelor, if you see nothing wrong with that, you're the problem. Trust me, not me. I'm not going to blindly support somebody ever, man, if they're wrong, and I think they're wrong, I'm going to say it. And to get attacked for pointing that out is comical. I'm not a Trump supporter, I'm a Trump policy supporter. I can't stand the dude. I think he's an absolute narcissist, man, but the policies I can support. But when the man does just stupid shit, and I dare to criticize him, and I'm going to attack by, quote, fellow Trump supporters, you can kiss my ass, man. You're part of the problem. These polarizing politics is what is destroying this country. The man's got problems, okay, on some personality levels, and if you're just so blind to that, you probably have the same problems too. It's just, come on now, folks. The Bachelor, and it was disgusting. It's gross. Ari Fleischer, who was the George Bush's PR guy. I met him at a conference. I gave a keynote after him. Whatever. Short story long. Hung out with the dude. Great American. Tweet today. He's like, these got to stop. These presidential press conferences that go 60 minutes, 90 minutes. It's got to stop. The guy's got to. If he has to speak, he's got to speak for 30 minutes and get off the stage. He's walking into these ambushes. I get it, man. And the same thing goes for Andrew Cuomo. A lot of you didn't watch my Andrew Cuomo video and just kind of read the title. You're part of the problem too. I didn't say Andrew Cuomo's a great guy and he's going to make a great president. You didn't listen. I think that guy's awful. Partial birth abortion, anti-gun, big tax and spend, typical limousine liberal Democrat. I can't stand Andrew Cuomo. I was talking about the politics of it last week. I was talking about how the guy gave good press, and they all sat there fawning. No hard questions, no hardball questions, and it was good politics. I was a political science major. I loved the politics of stuff. Never sat there and said the guy would make a good president. You're an idiot if you thought that I said that. You probably just read one of my headlines and made an assumption. That's why you need to read the 4 agreements. One of the agreements is never make assumptions. Never. Okay? So contrast an Andrew Cuomo press conference, and I love the ventilator shit, man. What a complete clown. The guy's an idiot. I'm talking about the optics. You see a Trump press conference, and he walks every time he walks right into a reporter's ambush question. And he knows he's doing it. He gets pissed at himself as he walks into it, and then it's bad, folks. I agree with Ari Fleischer, and I'm not going to repeat everything I said because I have more stuff to talk about Pence. Who is in charge of the coronavirus response? Ultimately, it's the commanding officer. It's the President of the United States, but he delegated it to Pence, and he's not getting out of the guy's way. He's failing. Pence gives good press. Trump looks unhinged. Johnson & Johnson, good news this morning about one of their drugs potentially entering phase 1 in December. Yay. All of our biotech positions looking very, very green today before I walked out here and taking a look at the screen. So a lot of green on the screen with the biotech positions. Oil. Folks, oil became a teenager last night. Let me say that slowly. Oil broke $20. Another great Trumpism. A couple weeks ago, what did he say? Low oil prices is great for Americans, are great for Americans. Completely false. Again, when oil was in 2013, whenever the last time we had this oil bear market, anybody who tells you that low oil prices, first of all, equal low gasoline, there's not an equal sign there, folks. I've worked with the energy industry, National Oil Well, Varco, done a lot of consulting with oil companies. There's no equal sign there. Low oil, low gasoline. There's a lot of variables. It can, and sometimes it can't. But let's think about low oil prices. Weeks ago, the president, low oil is fantastic for Americans, fantastic for the economy. How many of you are rushing out right now to go fill up the family truckster? 0. None of you are. How many of you are hopping on an airliner to go to Mexico? Nobody. Some of my airline buddies are sending me pictures. They're like, we have more people, we have more crew on this flight than people. It's a private jet for some people. 767 with a dude sitting in the back. It's insanity. So oil demand, ladies and gentlemen, is imploding. Do you think Occidental, Chesapeake, Apache, or even the big ones, ExxonMobil, Chevron, do you think these big, massive oil companies, the oil service companies, are charities? Like the Salvation Exxon? That's not how it works. So when oil becomes a teenager, and you're the CEO of all these companies, what do you do with the 50,000 workers out in Midland, Texas? Do you just keep sending them a check to not work and go out on a rig or off Baton Rouge? No, they're clipped. I remember last time oil was in a bear market, Schlumberger, like a couple days in a row, 15,000 people. I'm like, Schlumberger lays off 15,000 people. I'm like, I saw that yesterday. No, check the date. It was 15. It's insane. So, folks, your little $10 that you're going to maybe save with gas being low is not going to offset hundreds of thousands of workers getting just obliterated because of low oil. If low oil prices are fantastic, why did Donald Trump just say on Fox News, I'm calling Putin. As soon as I get done with this interview, I got to talk to Vlad about oil. The president at this point wants oil prices to go up. You would talk about politics? How about whenever oil prices are really, really high, right? And Nancy and Chuck and all these Democrats and liberals get pissed. What do? They drag them up in front of Congress and give them one of their public beatdowns, don't they? Anybody seen any oil executives being dragged up to Capitol Hill today to demand why the price is so low? So in times like this, I love that stupid people get educations in how markets work. So welcome to how oil works. Carnival Cruise Lines just halted for trading. I tried to get some puts right at the open. I told my Afterburner trading thread, I'm like, grab it, and then they halted trading. The cruise ship industries, I think Carnival Cruise Lines and these guys are most likely going to file for bankruptcy. I can't even believe this is going to come out of my mouth. I'm going to, Smokey and the Bandit. Remind me when we get home to punch your mama in the mouth. I want to punch me in the mouth. AOC. I actually agreed with her. Absolutely not. Cruise ship companies flagged in Liberia. They're flagged in foreign countries, and they wanted your tax money. I feel horrific for the workers. I feel horrific for my buddies who own restaurants in Fort Lauderdale around the port. Hundreds of employees gone. They'll never come back. The cruise ship industry, I got to be honest with you too, man. This is going to sound bad. Really don't care. There's a bunch of cruise ships anchored off of Fort Lauderdale and Miami. These cruises weren't a month long, ladies and gentlemen. I remember people on social media like, you should see how cheap cruises are. I'm like, oh my God, I'd never go on a cruise to begin with, since it's a floating germ factory, and now there's a deadly pandemic. They knew there was a deadly pandemic, and they still want on the cruises. There's one of these ships, whatever its name is, off Fort Lauderdale. 4 people are dead. 50-ish, 100, if 50 are infected, all of them are infected on that boat. The governor in Florida is letting them pull into here. Well, Wiz, they weren't allowed to pull into any South American country. They're flying a flag off the back of their ship. Go pull into that country. Life is a self-cleaning oven, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to say. It's ridiculous. So the governor of Florida, who's keeping New Yorkers and people from New Jersey out because they might potentially be infected, is letting a cruise ship full of potentially thousands of people to our shores. Ron DeSantis, you suck. You're one of the worst governors ever. You're a Trump sycophant. That's part of your problem. I got a lot of feedback last night from my Sunday brief about why I'd be bullish. First of all, you got to be bullish on America. My God, man. We're going to get through this, folks. We're never going to be the same. This country will never be the same. This is 9/11 very, very magnified, man. And we will never forget those people, or the assholes, Saudi Arabia, who did a surprise attack on this country. Nice job, President Bush. You attacked the wrong country. But you ready for this? The Fed might start buying stocks. Every time, I've been wrong about the Fed. I'm like, they're out of ammo. Now they're out of ammo. Boom. Maybe now they're not. And this isn't anytime soon, folks. The Fed would have to go back to Congress, or Congress would have to change their mandate. Go watch Schoolhouse Rock and how a bill becomes a law and all that shit. The Fed, they don't want to do this. They have to wait for this round of stimulus to get into the economy to maybe think about buying stocks. Okay? But I can't even believe that came out of my mouth, that the Federal Reserve might start buying equities. So very bullish on J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. Here, I saw that the Fed, or somebody secretly bailed out. Who was it? Who's the Pulp Fiction dude? That what's in your wallet? They're bailing out hedge funds behind the scenes. There's a lot of bad going on. You think you hated Wall Street before? Wait until you find out, when this thing's over, who really got bailed out with your tax money. Real quick, I got to go back in, take a look at what's going on in the markets. Hey, man. Doctors, nurses, physician assistants, the security guard at the hospital, the people that clean the beds. Thank you for your service. This generation's next military. This is a freaking war, folks. This is a war. This thing's trying to kill as many of us as is possible. And the people that are bitching that the president extended this thing for 30 days are the same people that weren't adhering to it. Thanks. But to all the men and women on the front line in the medical profession, my God, man, thank you for your service. This enemy is more lethal than I've ever seen. It's silent. It's insane. Okay, so please take this next 30 days. I'm glad I'm growing my hair back. I might go Marky Mark, or whatever his name is, from Boogie Nights. Maybe I'll get a nice parted down the middle and, some good stuff here. So take this time to grow your hair back. Why Buddhism is true. And again, I ain't no Richard Gere, folks, but this type of stuff really, I'm not kidding, I'm not joking. It saved my life and made me a better man, and I'm trying to be a better man every day. What's the point in waking up every day if you're not going to be better than you were yesterday? Okay, I got to go. I'll see my Afterburner traders in my group me. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you're hedged in this market, and God bless. I'll talk to you guys later.